And welcome back to Seize Your Man Warrior. This is another patron roster review. This is Akumo from Omega. Now, I know, Akumo, you said you wanted this to be private, so this will be private. Only people seeing this will be our patrons, which have access to our patron Discord. If you ever change your mind and decide to have this go public, we can change it. But for now, you said you are frustrated. You are a pay-to-play. You do spend money in the game. You invest. And anytime you invest money into something that you enjoy, you want to get enjoyment out of it. If you gamble all the time and you never win, you're going to stop gambling. And that's kind of the point with this game. You've been playing and you've been spending money, and it's kind of a gamble, and you're just to that point where you're burned out and you really just want to quit. And I hear you. I have felt that, and so has a dozen other people in my guild alone. There will be new content coming that is going to breathe new life into this game, so I just want to give you that little bit sense of hope. But the two biggest issues you kind of brought up, and there really isn't a solution, is mods and your Mark III and Omega pieces. And I've told you this before, we've talked about it. The Omegas and Mark III pieces, the best way to get the highest drop rate on those, other than trying to buy them whenever you can, is because Mark III, sometimes they have them in packages, and Omegas you can do by refreshing those Omega events on the weekends. But the mods you can buy with the mod packs, or you can just farm the hell out of mods. You can just focus on mods. That's what I've done for the last 3 months, primarily, is just focused on nothing but mods, and my mods are still subpar comparatively to some of the people I know. So it's one of those things you kind of have to accept, that mods is just going to suck. It's hard. But the mod store, think about refreshing the mod store a lot. Like 20 refreshes a day. I know you may do this, but if not, you may want to consider it, because 10 refreshes is 150 crystals. So for 300 crystals a day, you could do 20 refreshes, and in those 20 refreshes, you're bound to find 3 really good mods that have a possibility of rolling really, really good for you for credits. And as long as you keep, 5 to 10 million credits on hand at any given time, you should be able to purchase those, and once you have them, level them up, and you should be able to get them better that way. So the mod store is how my guys in Team Instinct get the best of the best mods. How they become monsters with the mods is they do those refreshes. Maybe you only do 10 refreshes a day, but if you're not doing refreshes in the mod store, take it as an investment. If you're investing in this game money, you might as well invest crystals into the mod store if that's your biggest gripe, I would suggest anyway. Now, I don't do mod refreshes because I just accept that mods suck ass, and I just have to deal with that. But for you, if it's something that, is making you literally want to quit, I would suggest doing the refreshes and trying to find them that way. And then as far as the Omegas and Mark IIIs, yes, they're tough. That's just the way it works. It's one of the pinches in the game they've created to kind of keep us from just putting everything up maxed. But you can go to the highest Cantina nodes. The Mark IIIs drop significantly higher in there. Right now, I'm farming for Garsaxon. Garsaxon is in one of the highest nodes, and I'm getting a crap ton of the Mark IIIs by farming him. So you can get 2 birds, 1 stone, getting a character and getting a bunch. Plus, the Omegas have the chance of dropping in those as well. So hopefully that helps a little bit with your mod issues and Omegas, but you kind of want some off-the-kilt ideas for ships, arena, making it more defensible. And then you told me you're farming, you already told me who you're farming, and it's huge. And then you want to do a little more damage in heroic AAT. You said you're farming Resistance, Director Krennic, Tarkin, Death Troopers, Sith, Phoenix, and the Imperial Troopers. That's kind of your farm order. So you're crazy. You're crazy. You're farming a ton, man. You're doing a ton. So I'm not going to give you a bunch of people to farm, because it sounds like you're doing really, really well with that. So we're going to move first to the fleet arena. I'm looking at what you have, and you're using the Executrix. That's fine. That's a great ship. And you're using Biggs to protect your team, and then you're using the TIE Fighters with the TIE Advance. So that's excellent. The only thing I would do in this entire setup that you're doing is I would swap your Scimitar, which you own, with your Slave 1. I'd put Scimitar in the initial lineup, so that way you can get that Scimitar to go off right away and put it on Biggs. It makes Biggs more durable in that initial lineup. It also allows for you to paint target lock before you bring Boba Fett in, and then when Boba Fett comes in, he can actually do an AoE that's worth something. In addition to that, your Biggs will last a little bit longer, and everybody you kill on the other side, as the reinforcements come in, they're going to have target lock painted on them right from the get-go, which is going to help you in your durability. One other ship you could swip in if you want to make this a little bit more durable of a team is, I know it sounds terrible because I love First Order, but You could take First Order TIE Fighter out because it's the slower of the two TIE Fighters and put in the Umbaran. The Umbaran is super tanky, and it's going to give you that Dispel on a basic, which is going to really help if you're having trouble carving through teams that have Biggs themselves. If they've got a Biggs, the Umbaran is the way to get around Biggs because he'll just dispel Biggs every time he goes. And so pretty cool. Definitely you could sub in your First Order for that, and then you could also put in your Scimitar instead of Slave 1. And then in your backup, you could put Slave 1, and then you could have First Order if you pulled him, and Wedge and Rex. I mean, there's a bunch of great options for the end. Your Endurance you could put in as well, but your Mace Windu, the character, is not actually ready. But you have your other two. I mean, you got Admiral Akbar good, and you got Endurance good. So my suggestion is the possibility of looking at maybe developing, since you don't mind spending a little money, developing Mace Windu and the Endurance, because that is for target lock, which is what you built with your ships. That's really the best ship for the target lock. Now, Executrix, if you can get to that TIE attack, you're going to take the other team out. But a lot of times you can't even get to that. It's really, really hard to, because sometimes the other team can just slaughter your team before you get to that, and there's not as much defensibility. The Executrix has the least amount of durability of all the characters or all the ships. So just a thought, Endurance might be one you want to take a look at. And then as far as Arena, your regular Arena squad goes, you want to know how to make it more defensible. You're using Triple Cleanse. Like, dude, this is the best. This is as good as it gets. The only thing to make it better and more defensible is faster. I mean, if you're the fastest guys on the block, the other teams just have a harder time. You get that one jump ahead of the other team, and you stay one step ahead. So you really want to make it faster. And the only thing that I could see right now that would be that I would make faster, because I've looked at all your speeds, and this is actually something I've never suggested in the past, but it does create a hyper irritating situation for your opponents, and it does make your team more defensible, and that is Baze and General Kenobi make fast. I am telling you, make them fast. Get your General Kenobi into the 200s and get your Baze over 180 speed. You can do it. I know he's the slowest character in the game at like 90 speed, and so getting him to 180 is adding like 90 speed on him, but you can add 90 speed on any character. Get him fast at like 180, 190. There is nothing, and I mean nothing, more irritating than a Baze that goes non-stop, constantly shooting over and over and over, using his AoE, using his Dispel, using his AoE, using his... And I ran into one team in Galactic War that I couldn't beat to save my life, and I went, why the hell can I beat this team? And I went to his Baze to see how he had him modded. I thought maybe it was health or maybe it was whatever, and I looked, and sure as crap, he had it at 190, and I was like, what the hell? But it made him go so much of the time that he became twice the threat that he originally was. So try it out. See what you think. Get him really fast and see how it absolutely devastates the arena teams that you're going against. It definitely, with your two tanks being faster, you're going to get much more taunts out of them. You're going to get much more usability out of them. They're going to get many more turns out of them. And so, you know, that's the one thing I would say if you were going to focus on speed. Those two characters, put some speed on those two characters and see what happens for your arena. As far as some advanced team suggestions, as far as Phase 1 goes, I'm going to actually recommend kind of an interesting team for you. The team I'm going to suggest is actually a very advanced team. I haven't never made this particular suggestion to anybody else ever, but you're a pay-to-play character, so this is a guy. This is perfect for you guys. In Phase 1, you're going to use the I'm a Gun Die lead, which means you're going to have to invest in this guy a lot because he's 7-star, but you just got him at the basic level 1, gear level 1, all that kind of stuff. So you're going to want to get I'm a Gun Die up. He's going to be your leader. He's the best leader to have. If you don't want to put anything into I'm a Gun Die, then I would use as a lead, I would use Jedi Knight Anakin. Okay, so you could use Jedi Knight Anakin in this team, and he's already pretty much maxed out. So this is your other option if you don't want to take I'm a Gun Die. But of the two, Jedi Knight Anakin and I'm a Gun Die does more damage. Okay, so that's where you're at with your leader. Then you're going to have your General Kenobi, and you need to have your General Kenobi over 180 speed. And you're going to have Darth Maul, and you're going to want to get all of his abilities maxed out and his speed over 180. Now, that's a chore as well, just like Baze is a chore to get over 180 because he's one of the slowest characters in the game at 100 speed. You still want to get him over 180. There's a reason for that. And then First Order TIE Pilot, go ahead and get him in this team. And you're going to want, he doesn't have to be super fast, but you definitely want him to do as much damage as physically possible. So how you have him modded is perfect. Crit chance, crit damage sets, offense secondaries. This is an excellent lineup. He doesn't have to be super fast. He's just there to do his double tap. And Jawa Scavenger. And you actually don't even have to do any more work to Jawa Scavenger, but I would suggest just getting him up to Gear 9 because you got him at Gear 8. You're only one piece away from Gear 9, so just pop him into Gear 9. But this team with the Imagundai lead or the Jedi Knight Anakin lead, General Kenobi, Maul, with General Kenobi and Maul being over 180 speed, Jawa Scavenger and First Order TIE Pilot, the way it's going to work is you can't go into Phase 1 and do 0 damage on the raid, okay? You can't go do that, because if you do that, you'll feed turn meter to General Grievous, and when you bring this team in, the 180 speed isn't enough. You won't be able to go first. So you can't 0 damage the mod. The only time you're going to use this team is when you know that you are going to be doing the raid for a fact for the AAT. Then you go into Phase 1, and you're going to daze everybody with Maul, and you're going to put Retribution up with General Kenobi. After that, you're going to target General Grievous. You're going to hit General Grievous, and he's going to retaliate. He's going to hit everybody, and then everybody, because the daze prevents all of his ad robots from attacking you, and then everyone has Retribution, which means when he hits his AoE, this is the first thing he does, he's going to hit all your characters. They're all going to attack him. Because he got attacked by 5 characters, he gets 20% turn meter. That gives him 100% turn meter. That means he gets to go again. So General Grievous is going to go again. None of his ad robots are doing anything. They're just going to sit there. And then he's going to go again, and he's going to go again. And every time he hits you guys, all your guys are going to mob him and hit him directly. And so it's a way to get around those stupid other ad robots that tank all the time, that taunt and tank and prevent you from hitting him. He will kill himself. And this team, I mean, you could hit auto battle, and after about 2 minutes, you'll have 25% of Phase 1 completed, which is the best team you can do for Phase 1. This is a really, really great. I think some people out there call it Kenobi Sync. I have no idea why. Truth be told, Team Instinct's been using this team for months. I've just never used it because I always put a 0 on the raid. So that way, if I miss the raid, which I miss all the time, I actually get some rewards. And if you do a 0, what happens is you then give turn meter to all the characters. And then when you bring this team in, the speed of your characters isn't sufficient. So there you go. There's an advanced team suggestion to do tons of damage, a couple mil in the first round. And then as far as your Phase 2 and Phase 4, you've got clones, you've got rebels, you've got resistance. So my suggestion for more damage, advanced damage, is run these multiple teams. I mean, if you've got multiple teams to run, why not run these multiple teams in these phases? You know, if you've got 4 different teams, First Order, rebels, resistance, clones, pick 2. Run them in Phase 2, pick 2, run them in Phase 4, and take a heavier damage and a lighter damage team, run them together. For example, you could run Resistance and First Order in your Phase 2, and you could run Clones and Rebels in Phase 4. Running multiple teams will just get you that much more damage, and you're already doing 14 to 16 million damage, which is absolutely insane, which means you already know what you're doing. You're probably better at the heroic AAT than me because of this. And then for Phase 3, you probably already know who I'm going to suggest. But of course, Chief Chirpa as the leader. Chief Chirpa is going to give your Emperor Palpatine all of the extra turn meter he needs to set up the shocks that he does for all the extra turn meter. And of course, out of Empire for this Chirpa team, you're going to use your Emperor Palpatine Grand Admiral Thrawn, who's going to slow this whole process down significantly. Thrawn is the greatest invention ever for this Phase 3 of the raids. You'll also use Shore Trooper, and then also, surprisingly, Death Trooper. You're going to want to get Shore Trooper's critical hit immunity up after Emperor Palpatine shocks all the ad robots. Just before he's about to shock the last couple robots, you're going to want to get your crit hit immunity up, and you're going to want Death Trooper to apply his death mark to the main robot. What that's going to do is once Emperor Palpatine finishes his cycle, and he gets to start just nonstop shocking the main robot, it's going to give Emperor Palpatine the ability, since the death mark's on there, to do double damage, you know, twice as much damage. So you're going to get twice as much damage out of Emperor Palpatine. And once Emperor Palpatine starts going, once he's got all that extra turn meter and he starts going on that shock, none of your characters are going to get any turns. They're just going to sit there and watch Emperor Palpatine go to town. So unfortunately, you got to set this up right, where basically you let Emperor Palpatine shock, and then when you get to near the end where he's about to jump into his cycle, before that, you want to put everybody else's abilities up. You want to make sure you put up death mark on the main ad robot. You want to put shore troopers, critical hit immunity. So when and if the tank in the background shoots, nobody dies or even gets hurt that bad because there's buffs over their heads. Plus, they're going to have critical hit immunity. So on the rare occasion he does actually get a turn to shoot or a retaliation, he does very little damage to those characters that he's shooting. And then Emperor Palpatine is just going to go to town. And of course, with Emperor Palpatine, you just want as much offense on mods, offense as much as possible, because he's going to do 85% of all the damage on this. And so as much damage as possible. He's special damage, which means you really are going to get your best bang for your buck with offense mods. You could try to do critical chance, but you'd have to go all in on critical chance, and then that would make your potency suffer, which means your shocks are not going to be as effective. And so I would just recommend offense mods for him. So those are going to be some little tweaks, and I'm sure you knew all of it except for the Phase 1 team. I'm not sure if you know about that team or not. Some people do, some don't. And now that you have Thrawn, make sure you integrate him into your Chirpatine team. And, you know, like I said, you've got everything it takes. I know you want to quit, but don't. Keep playing. Make it fun again by, you know, playing Galactic War with different teams. Try and say, like, each team you take in you can only use for 2 nodes. Do stuff like that just to kind of mix it up and have fun. And if you need to take a small break from Arena and let yourself fall and reclimb, if you want the experience for climbing, then do that. Have some fun, but don't give up on the game. It's super fun. And the new content coming down the way is going to breathe new life into this game. So your Arena looks great. You're in top 50, and of course you're top 50 for this. And like you said, you can climb. It's just your defensibility. So try getting your 2 tanks faster and see what does. Let me know how that works out. For those few that are watching this private one, you can leave comments down below for Akumo as to what he can do. Make sure you keep your gaming on. Warrior out.